Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to share with you my Labo fragrance collection, and I'm also going to be ranking them for you. So if you'd like to know what I think, then keep watching. Now first things first, I purchased all of these bottles and I own 8. I don't have a lot. I actually prefer to purchase Labo in person. I think it's kind of fun to watch them make the fragrance in front of you. But I do own 3 city exclusives, and those obviously, unless you live in an area or you visit an area where it has a Labo boutique that has a city exclusive, obviously those had to be purchased online, and I also got one from a declutter. Now I will kind of give you guys a disclaimer. I have been trying to film this video for like 2 weeks, but I find myself rambling on, and I really don't want this video to be crazy long, but I like to talk about fragrances. And when I'm ranking houses for you guys, it's kind of like a little mini tour in my collection. I kind of want to tell you guys why I purchased these things and why I ranked them the way they did. So this video will probably be on the long side. However, I will list all the fragrances below for you, and I will also timestamp where I start talking about those fragrances, because some of these fragrances I will obviously be talking about much longer. That way, if you guys just want to know my opinion on one of these fragrances, you don't have to sit through a long video where I'm talking in circles. Also, I'm a goldfish and there's a lot of pretty bottles down here, so if you see me looking down, I just am easily distracted. I'm very sorry. So first things first, Labo is a luxury niche fragrance house. It has a cult following. A lot of people really love this house. I like the fact that their fragrances smell unique, but they're not crazy out of the box. So it's a great introductory into niche and luxury fragrances, not so much price point, but in regards to kind of like getting used to what designer fragrances smell like and getting used to like the crazy way that niche fragrances can smell. It's a great introductory house to kind of start dipping your toes into niche fragrances. Now, I only own 8, like I said, so obviously the one that's my least favorite in my collection is still stereotypically one of my top 10 favorite Labos. In fact, I have not found a Labo fragrance I disliked. I just am like Raja. I purchase a lot of fragrances sometimes just to fill my collection. You know, I get in love with a house and then I'll buy everything, and then some houses I buy very sparingly and I wait for a specific reason or specific season or event. Labo is one of those houses that I don't just buy because, again, I prefer to buy in person. And for me, buying in person is kind of watching somebody create one single scent. It's not somebody sitting there kind of like making and filling like 5 or 6 bottles. So I just tend to prefer to purchase in person, and so that's why I don't have too many. So the first fragrance we're going to talk about is beautiful, and it is Neroli 36. Now Neroli 36, in fact, there's 3 fragrances I'm looking at right now that I have the same feeling of, and I'll just kind of let you know. If you smell it on a strip, if you smell it on a cap, it smells a little screechy, a little intimidating, but on skin, that is completely gone. Neroli 36 is one of those fragrances. Now, what I love about this fragrance is it has kind of like a classic appeal in regards to being a very powdery fragrance, but I enjoy that it's very floral. It's kind of like a soapy, fresh, clean fragrance that's just really beautiful. The powdery, and it smells like a little like musky. There's something about it, like when you smell it like this, that smells a little bit too, again, screechy. And I like loud fragrances. I like when fragrances are bitter. I like when fragrances have power and presence and oomph. But sometimes it doesn't smell like it's deliberate, and that's what's intimidating for some people. And this is one of those fragrances where you have to smell it on your skin. It just smells so beautiful. It lightens up. It's airy. It's fizzy. It's soft and floral, and it's got a beautiful kind of kiss of powdery softness to it that I find just to smell really elegant and very wearable and very beautiful. And I understand that there's a lot of other fragrances from Labo that are more exciting, which is why I don't think Neroli 36 gets the credit it's due, but it's just such a pretty scent to wear on the skin. Now, Jasmin 17, this is the one that was a declutter I purchased from somebody who was kind of paring down their collection. This is an older bottle. This was compiled or made in 2016. What I love about Jasmin 17 is almost kind of the opposite of Neroli 36. That is sweeter, cleaner, floral, powdery. I love how green this is, and I have a sample of this, and when I was compiling this list, I was smelling my samples and deciding exactly how I wanted to kind of compile the ranking, because it's not just about how I wear, it's also about like my obsession with wearing. And Jasmin 17, I love it, it's so good, but I just think the others again are better, but again still like a top 10 Le Labo. What I like about this one, as this poor bottle has just seen better days, what I love about this fragrance specifically is that it smells like a jasmine bush, a jasmine plant. You smell the roots. You don't smell like dirty roots. Like think about you like kind of rinse the roots off. So there's not like an earthiness to this fragrance. It's a very deep, bitter green smell with a very predominant just kind of like jasmine that has so much clarity. It's not creamy. It's not too musky, it's just green and jasmine and just beautiful and deep. It just smells to me like a jasmine bush. And that's something that I like to smell like, and also is great layering if you want to layer with like some more green fragrances or some tea fragrances. Sometimes I want a lot of green, a lot of bitterness, and a lot of jasmine. So I'll actually like to layer that with Eau de Vert from Bulgari. It's a beautiful blend together. Do really love Jasmin 17. It is fantastic, but again, for me, these other ones are just fantastic and a little bit better because there's a little bit more going on. Jasmin 17 was also one of the others that smells, because of that bitterness, it smells a little bit stronger on a strip or on like from the cap, or like if you put it like underneath a big glass and you smell it. Very green on the skin. Again, it comes off just a little bit more aromatic, a little bit stronger with the jasmine, just really, really beautiful. This next one, Noir, is also one of those fragrances, and that's just because there's a lot of complexity to this fragrance that I just find to be really beautiful. This is a beautiful tea scent, and I've reviewed this and I've talked about it. It's aromatic, it's slightly spiced. It leans more on a cool aromatic, not like a warm, hot aromatic, and I've talked about that before. So think like coriander, cardamom, thyme, basil. Those are more like cool aromatics, like rosemary, cinnamon. Those are more like warm aromatics. And this has kind of got like a light coolness to it. That beautiful tea, it's just, this one needs no words, but on the skin, it smells like magic. And that's why those three are the ones that I think. That's also the other thing too, is like the fact that like on skin is where these really open up. I think that's why there's like the bottom 3 of the 8, because there's something about these other ones that's just perfect from start to finish. But I do love those, and Noir is fantastic, and also one of the more popular fragrances from the house. Next 5, my top 5, these are obviously, there's 3 city exclusives, and there's 2 that are not. And if you know me, you know why these are part of this list. So the first one, number 5, is Vanille 44. This is, I believe this is London. I don't remember the cities, but this is fantastic, and I just added 2 more to my collection. When I do my haul, I'll talk to you guys about that a little bit more. This is one that I've been smelling for years. I actually, when I purchased my first city exclusive, I had a sample of this, and when you could like choose your samples, I chose like a few extra of Vanille 44. This has such a beautiful light softness, but like a gorgeous vanilla. It almost smells like a marshmallow or frosting, but not sweet. Like, have you ever like had a dessert and you had like a frosting and it just was just sugar and there was no flavor to it? There was like nothing to it other than just sickeningly sweet. And then you've had like the same, like say like a buttercream, and you have this like delicious buttercream from this like patissier, or like pastry cream or something like that, that just tasted like beautiful, slightly sweet cream and not like sugar. That's what Vanille 44 is. Vanille 44 has this beautiful, like gorgeous vanilla. It's soft, it smells like frosting, but not like super sugary sweet, like saccharine, like hurting your teeth sweetness. This one is just beautiful. It's like, I love vanilla fragrances, but sometimes you want like a lighter, better vanilla. Like sometimes you have your vanilla ambers and you have your gourmands with woods and vanilla and oud, and there's some rose, and yeah, those smell amazing and I love to smell like that. But sometimes I just want an easy to wear, light but still very substantial vanilla fragrance, and this one is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So I finally added it to my collection. Next one, and actually I realized I purchased this one online too, so I was wrong. I purchased more online than I purchased in person. I just realized I think I had like a coupon or something, or like a Nordstrom gift card. So anyway, this one is Rose 31. This one is fantastic. I have been in love with this fragrance for such a long time. It smells so beautiful. It's such a gorgeous rose. It's so aromatic. The woods in there are fantastic. I really don't need to talk too much about this one because what I have to say about this one, I'm going to mention in another one, but better. But this is just gorgeous. Again, I have reviews of that if you really want to know my true thoughts. But as a rose lover and as somebody that likes aromatic fragrances, as somebody that likes wearable things that smell different, like a different take, like if you like fashion, so you have like these classic silhouettes, and so you have like these like A-line dresses, empire waists, like, you know, this type of pant, this type of jacket, this type of suit, like very classic silhouettes. So like very like prominent rose fragrances or chypres or woody aromatics, like those are like more like classic, what people are used to in regards to silhouettes. And then you have some of these silhouettes that have the classic kind of shape, but some things done differently. It's more exaggerated. It's more a different color, a different texture, a different textile. And then you have, you know, maybe something that's not so avant-garde, not so out of the blue, but there's something about it that makes it stand out on its own. So maybe it's a blazer jacket that has unique stitching on the front, or maybe the way that it's tailored fits slightly different way, but it's still a very classic silhouette. That is what I mean with Rose 31. This is definitely one of the more easier to understand fragrances from the house of Labo, and for the most part being, in my opinion, more of a better introductory brand into niche, more about smells, not so much price. I find that Rose 31 is something that people can really wrap their nose around. It's beautiful. It's got a gorgeous rose. The rose is light, sweet, playful, more of like a tea rose. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, but there's a nice balance of aromatics, and that's kind of like what I mean. You have this rose scent. It's very predominant, it's very there, but there's just a little something different with aromatics and woods that kind of pull it slightly in a different direction, and that's something that I really enjoy about Rose 31. And I don't think I said that in my review, but I mean it. Next one is the largest bottle I have, because if you know me and this note, you know I wear this like crazy, but how much of this type of fragrance I have, I probably should have just gotten a smaller bottle, but it is Vetiver 46. This is my top three. I love Vetiver as a note. Oh my gosh, if you guys aren't familiar with my channel, so much. It's so fantastic. And this is such a beautiful, it's a green, grassy vetiver, but has a little bit of dampness to it, a little bit of that inkiness. It also smells like very aromatic, kind of a little dilly. The woods in here kind of pull that just a little bit, but as a vetiver lover, this is fantastic. This is a very fantastic everyday wearable vetiver. And I know for vetiver dominant scents, like a lot of people, some people really don't like this note when it's like center stage. I can understand. So if you wanted to see if you like vetiver as a note in a very predominant way, where it's kind of center stage like Sycamore, Encore Noir, I would say this one is a fantastic one, and Guerlain's Vetiver is another one to see if you like vetiver like front end stage, because some people they like it as in the composition to elevate things, to work with woody aromatics, to work with this here and there. It does a fantastic job at balancing things out and blending things together. Aromatics and woods and florals, it is a fantastic just kind of little bridge for everything to work together. But on its own, some people can be a little intimidated by vetiver because it is very grassy sometimes. But if you want to see if vetiver works really good for you, Vetiver 46 and again the Guerlain Vetiver are excellent fragrances to try. 46 is one of the most well-balanced vetivers I've tried, and that's why I love it so much. Now these next two are my most favorites, and one of them I just added to my collection, one of them I've had for a very long time. So number 2 is the Tokyo City exclusive Gaiac, and this is actually my scent of the day. I love this fragrance. I love it. If you guys know me, you know how much I love woody fragrances. And this one, oh, it's just so perfect. It's so perfect. It's woody, it's beautiful, it's aromatic, it smells like pencil shavings. I know that doesn't sound positive for people, but for me, it's a huge positive. Now, it's not like straight pencil shavings like a lot of people assume and associate with like cedarwood fragrances or very dominant cedarwood fragrances or fragrances with, like eccentric molecules, molecule 1. But what I like about Gaiac is it's got that beautiful kind of like cool peppery bite. Like there's a bite to it, but it's very light. So it's not like in Rose 31. It's not like in Baie Rose 26 where that pink pepper is just powerful. It's just got a slight peppery prickle that again kind of like opens up your olfactive palate, and you take in this just gorgeous like woods, like pencil-y shavings, aromatic, light green woods. It's a little musky. Now, one thing I will say about Gaiac 10 is even though this fragrance is a woody aromatic and I expect like a little bit more loud fragrances, a little bit more longer lasting fragrances, this scent specifically is lighter. In fact, the first few times I wore this, I was nose blind to it. Like other people could smell it, but for some reason I couldn't smell it. And then I started to like smell it and kind of like my nose learned to like pick it up, weirdly enough. So for me, this fragrance just smells beautiful, but also at the same time, there's just something about like a light, airy, but very present woody scent, woody aromatic fragrance that's just beautiful. There's a lot of little nuances in this. I do need to do a review of this, and I probably will do that very soon. I know the Labo City exclusive event is winding down in just around a week, but for me, Gaiac 10 is just one of those fragrances that I get excited to wear. I love, and I mean love, wearing woody fragrances. I love smelling like a tree or a pile of wood or a pile of burning wood. There's something about wood and grasses and green that I reach for. And you have the beautiful greenness in Jasmin 17. You have the grassy, gorgeous, well-balanced Vetiver in Vetiver 46. You have this kind of gorgeous aromatic rose scent in Rose 31. But if you're going to look at wood, from Labo, what fragrance kind of celebrates wood? I would say Gaiac 10 does a tremendous job. It's just beautiful. It is not a crazy loud fragrance. It is kind of a little bit more intimate, more personal. But at the same time, I just think it has a lot of presence to it too. It's like your friend that kind of doesn't have too many friends as an introvert, but when you get talking to them, they just have this fun, bubbly, open personality. And that's what Gaiac 10 is. It's not for everybody in regards to not everyone around you is going to be able to smell it, and it might take you a little while to be able to smell it on yourself. But once you kind of get that vibe of smelling like Gaiac, you can smell it everywhere, and it's just so beautiful. And last and certainly not least, and if you guys are familiar with my channel, this will not be a surprise, my top favorite. This is one of my top 5 fragrances ever out of my collection, and I have over 900 bottles, so just letting you guys know this is one of my favorite fragrances. This is in Baie Rose 26. This fragrance is just perfection, and if anything smells even the shadow of this scent, this is automatically one of my favorite fragrances. This fragrance has everything. It's aromatic, it's got a very dominant rose, way more dominant than in Rose 31. It's big, it's beautiful, but oh, that pink pepper in there is just perfect. I love pink pepper in rose fragrances, and I love pink pepper in woody aromatic fragrances. So obviously, when they come together and done in a beautiful way, where everything is well balanced, everything's properly chosen, it's the right rose, it's the right amount of pepper, it's the right amount of this. This is a fragrance that if I smell it on myself, I will look like an idiot walking around just with my going like this, smelling myself. That's what I do. I wore this one time. I was going to work, and I was driving to work, and I realized I was just driving smelling myself because it just smells so good. This is my favorite, one of my favorite fragrances, top 3 favorite fragrances to smell on myself. I love it. It smells beautiful. It's perfect. It's wearable, but it's unique. I like the pink pepper. Pink pepper, again, kind of like Vetiver, is one of those notes when it's utilized correctly, it changes the game. Vetiver to me kind of more mellows everything out and melts everything together, specifically florals, aromatics, and woods. Specifically woods like sandalwood, Gaiac wood, things like that. Oud is a little bit different. It just works in a great way where it kind of blankets everything and helps everything kind of homogenize. Pink pepper is the difference. Pink pepper, kind of like what I like about more spicy fragrances, is to me they kind of work like a palate cleanser. Like they just open your olfactive palate. It prickles it, it excites it. It kind of is like the cheerleader, like, hey, let's go with the other notes. And then you get everything else in, and everything else in Baie Rose is fantastic. So you just really get to experience and kind of breathe deep this really beautiful, peppery, aromatic rose fragrance. It's just gorgeous. But at the end of the day, this will probably, I have yet to find a fragrance that is able to knock this out of my top 5 favorite fragrances. There's a lot of contenders that smell close. I'm not going to say they're the same. So if you don't like rose, but you want a really beautiful, aromatic, kind of pink peppery, woody scent, scents of wood, sandalwood and oak, fantastic. That's one of the fragrances when I'm talking about kind of smelling in the shadow of Baie Rose 26. It's just, I've become very obsessed with it, but this one is just gorgeous. Absolutely favorite fragrance ever. I just love it. So those are my fragrances, guys. I know I kind of talked a little bit off topic for some of these things, and I seemed like I was kind of talking in circles, but just kind of recap, I love all of these fragrances. I think that they're really beautiful. I am generally a fan of Labo, the house. Again, I like the fact that they seem to have very well balanced, well crafted, well composed fragrances, and that's something that I generally really enjoy. I like seeing where fragrances aren't just throwing weird things together to create an out of this world, unique creative composition. I mean, I do love that, but it's nice to see a house play with delicacy and balance to create things that are unique. And that's, to me, what Labo does the most. It has well blended, well crafted fragrances that have uniqueness to them, but also are very wearable and approachable. These aren't fragrances, aside from maybe their price point, that are intimidating. And so if you wanted to kind of dip your toes into niche fragrances, I think Labo is a safe house to kind of explore and discover. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know what your favorite Labo fragrance is. Let me know in the comment section below. Or do you not like this house? Do you think they're overhyped, overpriced? Let me know what you guys think. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.